A couple of months ago, I made an unboxing and first impressions video about these pens. These are the Antou design Pen N, and they were on Kickstarter, and I think they're being launched publicly fairly soon. So I thought I would do a full review of these today. So please like and subscribe, hit the notifications button, and consider becoming a member of this channel, where for a small monthly fee, you'll get early access to my videos and some things like priority comments. So a big thank you to Antou Design for providing these pens for me to show you. I find them very interesting, and I'm looking forward to showing them to you right now. So these are the two versions of the Pen N from Antou Design that I was sent for review. Now, I did make a little video, first impressions style video, during the Kickstarter campaign. And as I'm filming this, they are not yet publicly sort of launched. So the Kickstarter campaign closed and there's the fulfillment period of that. But I wanted to put out a review. So if this is a pen that appeals to you, keep an eye on the website for more information. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the parts and features of this pen. I'm going to do a little writing sample with the refill that came with it. I'm going to give a little discussion on the mechanism of how it holds so many refills. And I've got a number of refills over here to the side, which I will be, trying in this pen. And then I'll probably give a little bit of a pros and cons sort of talk at the end. But let's get started. So this is the aluminium version. This is one of the wood versions. There's a number of different versions, different sort of clips and things you can kind of get done. Top of the pen, just a simple metal clip, big sturdy metal clip that's built into the cap there. It says Antou on there, which is, sort of pretty standard kind of branding. It's a very, very stiff clip. There's no flexibility in it virtually whatsoever, but there is a little gap just between the clip and the pen, so you can get it over a range of materials. It is a cylindrical cap and a cylindrical body, tiny little groove between the two. And then you got a nice little disc in the end there. It is a magnetic cap, and it's a good strong magnet, and it kind of locks in at certain points to stop it from moving around. And it's very secure. I've not had any issues with this cap whatsoever. But you take that cap off, and then you get a little step down onto what is a sort of a fairly nondescript section, and that's okay because you sort of hold it slightly further back. And then you get the beginnings of the actual mechanism, which I love so much. So what we have there is the collet that holds the refill in place. Now, how this system works is with the cap on, you simply give a twist, nice solid twist, and then you can unscrew that from the barrel, and you've got the collet there that holds the refill in place. And it comes with a Zebra JF 0.52506 refill, which is absolutely fine. And you slip that out of the collet, which is a nice sort of metal piece, so it's nice and sturdy and robust. The entire mechanism of this pen uses only 7 components, and it's brilliantly designed and manufactured. All that, I've got no concerns with the build quality whatsoever. And you simply put the refill in to that end there, push it through so that the tip comes through the top there, and then you can sort of screw it into the barrel, and then slip the cap on and finish that off by tightening it down. And you make it completely tight, and then there is no wobble on the tip at all. It's held very securely, similar to like a drill bit in a drill in a lot of ways. And what that means is you've got a good amount of refills that will fit in this, because it's not dependent on a spring or anything like that, or the length of the section or anything. There are a few limitations, of course. Firstly, the refill has to be able to get through the top of there, and there's a little bit of flexibility to it, so just give it a good push and a lot of refills will fit through there. The other place is this gap here in the collet. That's about 6 millimeters, I think. And so as long as the shoulders of the refill here fit within there, you're going to be able to get it in. And then the only other concern then is the length of the refill not being too long for this barrel. And there are very few refills that would be too long for this pen. It's a really solid, great, interesting system, and it works absolutely beautifully. The biggest difference between this and the wooden varieties of the pen is there, as you can see, there are two sort of kinds of aluminium anodization here. One pure sort of chromy, sort of, with a sort of a nice matte satin finish, and then you've got like a more sort of champagne-y sort of color version of it there. I'm not sure how well the camera will pick that up, but two different sort of versions. And then of course the wooden barrel, but the rest of the mechanism works beautifully well. And this is the one I've been using the most, is this wooden version, for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I kept the refill that came in this one in it. This one I put a refill from the Bic Click Gold pen, which is just a regular ballpoint pen that I really enjoy the refill of, and it fit beautifully in here. And like, once again, it's a very different sort of refill to the Zebra one that came in it. So it shows like that it is very sort of universal. That takes just that little bit of effort to push through there, and then that will lock down. The reason I quite like the wooden one actually is the feel of the material in the hand. It's a little bit lighter, which I like, and that feels nice in the hand. It's also just a little bit sort of more less slippery, I think, than the metal version. And I do like that refill, so I have been using that quite a lot. So before I show the refills that came with the pen, they were also provided with a couple of like pen slips, as you can see here. And they have a little lanyard hole, which I've actually had on a lanyard here. And basically what you do is on the top here, you slip the pen down into the sheath, if you will, and it fits into a little groove there, and then it pokes out the bottom just enough to be able to get it, and you can pull it out of that magnetic cap right with it, and then you simply slot it back in there until it engages, and you feel it there. What I have actually been doing is folding up the bottom of that sleeve just so that I can get a better grip on the end of the pen there. It's perfectly secure. I've worn this quite a lot on this lanyard around my neck. So that is how these work. I quite like them. And this is how the pen came packaged, just in a simple plastic, square tube. I don't know what the name for a square tube is. Plastic box, I suppose. And that fit nicely over there. And it's very cool, the Pen N. And I've been using these a lot. I really enjoy them. I find them to be quite comfortable pens to write with, and having access to a range of refills that fit it means that you can really personalize it to what you want to use. You don't have to use one that is determined by them. There's nothing proprietary about it. As I said, I've got a big ballpoint refill in here, and in here I've got the original Zebra refill, and we're going to test out a bunch more now. So for this, I'm just going to put this refill there. That is the original that came in the pen. And then let's open this one up. And let's just go one by one through in no particular order. This list is also not exhaustive. They say over 100 different refills will fit in it. They have a list on their website. The website will be listed down below if this is a pen you are interested in. This is literally just what I pulled out of one of the drawers here by my desk, one of each that I kind of had on hand. So we have a Uniball Zento here. Now, if you watched the video a while ago now, you'll notice that some did and some didn't fit. The Zento here does fit in there, and then that will lock down really nicely. So Uniball Zento is a tick. Next, a Zebra Sarasa. Absolutely no issue there. Going to screw down. Next, I have the Mont Blanc ballpoint refill. That's going to fit absolutely no problem. There that is, nice and sturdy. The Pilot Poplol here. This has a slightly different sort of shape up the top there, and that comes through no problem. and that'll lock down well. While we're on pilot, here is a G2. That just fit. So that took a little bit more effort, but that will be absolutely no problem. As I took that one out, the pilot exploded on me, so that's wonderful. So you just have to excuse my now very inky fingers. Next, we tried the Pentel Energel here. That one just comes through and locks down well. We'll try now the refill from the Retro 51. So that's one that won't fit because it doesn't fit through that gap there. So it's no for the Retro 51 refill. Let's try another Bic now. One from just the simple 4-color click pen. That goes through, that'll definitely lock down with no worries. Similar to the Bic Click Gold that I have in the wooden version of this pen. And try a couple of Carandash refills now. First, the Rollerball style refill, which is a bit of a generic sort of size. So that one absolutely comes through. So you can set that at the depth you want it in, and then definitely able to lock that down. And now the standard 849 pen with its Goliath refill. So yeah, once again, the Goliath definitely comes through, and then you just be able to lock that one down at the depth you want it. No problems. Just got a Muji gel pen here. No problem. Good solid fit there, and actually a really lovely refill for this pen. The Muji gel refills are wonderful. Now a Schmidt 888 refill. Not sure that one's actually going to make it down through there, I don't think. Let's give it a solid push, see what happens. Oh, yep. So you can get that one. Just takes a little bit more effort. And there it is. So this is another one that has come undone. So please be aware that if it's a tight fit, getting it out can be a bit of an issue. Next, we'll try a Fisher Space refill. And that one will also work very, very nicely. Fits in there well, nice sort of size, and comes out well. Okay, we're down to the last few now. So I'm going to try a Jetstream refill from a multi here. I have good high hopes for this. Totally expect it to be fine. And definitely comes through, and that'll absolutely lock down. I know I don't need to screw that down. That'll absolutely work fine. Now I have the Waterman Rollerball refill. Just taking this out of my Waterman Karen Rollerball. That fits nicely in there. And locks down perfectly fine. Doesn't come out too far, but definitely works. It's one of my favorite rollerball refills in one of my favorite rollerball pens. And then I thought I'd try some Lamy refills. This is the M66, which is for the retractable pen, so I have it in a Swift. That one is not going to fit. That's not going to fit down through that opening up there. So M66 from Lamy, no. So let's try the M63. That one does fit. A lot of these have this sort of rough sort of size. It is pretty tight in there, so just be aware when you go to take it out. And then lastly, one I tried in the original video, the M17. This is the Jetstream or Lamy Jetstream refill, same as the M16 from Lamy, same size. So M17 or 16 will both fit through there, absolutely no problem. So that's a good range of refills to know that do fit or don't fit. Just a couple of quick takeaways from that if the refill is too tight in the opening of that collet, you can pull the refill out and the top will stay in the pen. So just be aware, if it's too tight, getting it out might be a bit of a problem. Other takeaways are, if it's not under that roughly 6mm sort of diameter, it's also not going to fit through the shoulders there. So that is a great rundown of the refills. Let's do a quick size comparison. Okay, for the size comparison, there is the Antou design. I have my Waterman Karen rollerball, which I enjoy so much. The Lamy All-Star rollerball. And then just for the sake of the exercise, Muji gel pen and the Bic 4-color click. So you can see it's an okay sort of length there. It's not super long in comparison to the others. It does have good girth though. Unposted, it sits in a similar sort of position. It's shorter there than the Lamy All-Star and the Waterman Karen, but it's an okay size. However, it does not post, and pens like the Lamy All-Star and the Waterman Karen absolutely do post. So that is its entire writing length there. So what are the dimensions of the Antou design pen N? It's 134mm when it's capped and 125 when it's uncapped. The diameter, main part of the diameter there of the body is about 14mm, and it gets down to just under 12 around the grip. The metal pen weighs 45 grams, 32 in the body and 13 in the cap. And the wooden version weighs 25 grams, 12 in the body and 13 in the cap. So it's a much lighter option there. And I have to say, watching them argue like that on my desk is also quite fun. So what is the price of the Pen N? Well, when it was on Kickstarter, the aluminium version was $50 and the wood version was $65, that's US. So, but they are the reduced sort of price. So as I said, it's not been launched as I'm filming this, so I can't give you the price. It may be available by the time the video goes live, but right now it's not. But it did say 35% off the wooden version, which would make it somewhere around the $85 mark, and 41% off the AL version, which would put it somewhere around the $70 mark. Now, those prices may vary. That is just what was listed during the Kickstarter campaign. Okay, let's do a quick writing sample here. This is the aluminium version, of course, with that standard zebra refill that comes with the pen. So we have the Antou design pen N with the zebra JF 0.52506 refill. This is just the black one, and it's nice. It's not the smoothest, wettest refill, but it is a good sort of everyday one. It dries pretty quickly, a little smudgy still when it's wet, but once it's dry, not sort of too much smudging. It's smooth, but it's sort of also got a bit of a feedback, which you can probably hear there. I don't mind it. As I said, I'm a big ballpoint fan, so I have the ballpoint refill in here from Bic. I find if I can't use a fountain pen for whatever reason, I'll just use a ballpoint. And so I found that to be really great. But your writing experience with this pen will depend a lot on what refill you put in it. So given the fact that I tried, I don't know how many refills just then, was it like 12 or 15? You can, work out what will work for you out of what you like. Rollerball, gel, ballpoint, hybrid, whatever you decide. And you would hopefully be able to find something that fits it. Okay, let's talk pros and cons other than the fact that I got my fingers insanely inky trying those refills, and a couple of them kind of getting stuck and exploding on me. Primarily the Schmidt 888 and the Pilot G2 refill really got stuck. So what are my pros and cons? Well, I'm going to start with the cons, and one is that it's a fairly noisy pen. Like, I know it's a silly thing to say, but with all this metal on metal, like, it's not a subtle pen, and even like when they do attach, it is metal on metal. And so I don't love all of that, but that's the price you pay for having all these strong components and the magnetization and all that kind of thing. The aluminium version I don't find to be a particularly subtle pen. Like, it is quite big, it's a bold design, the big clip on it, all those kinds of things. So that design may not be for everyone. I think the wood version is a more subtle pen. I really like this. Like, I really like this. I think that is subtle. I think that is a little bit more graceful. And I think, as I said earlier, the weight in my hand and how it feels with writing just feels a bit more natural there with the wood version. The other con, of course, is this metal is quite slippery. So if you get sweaty hands, or if you don't like metal sections, that may be a problem with this one as well. But there are lots and lots of pros. Obviously, the big pro with this pen, the biggest pro this pen could possibly have, is that universality of refills. Not all, but many. So please, look at the refill list that's available, see the various versions that I tried in there, and you can, get an idea whether there'll be a refill that will work for you. But that universality and the mechanism of doing it with that collet sort of screwing down nice and tight, like really clamping it down with the cap there, gives a really solid feel. There's no wobble in it whatsoever. It's amazing. And also, I will say that there's a QR code on the packaging there. You can kind of make it out. It's white on there. And that will include a link, for sort of the product information and instructions and all that kind of stuff. So it's all provided there. I think the build quality is really lovely. I think, like, it's solid, it's robust, and you're definitely not going to feel like this pen is going to be like fragile in your pocket or being able to throw in a bag or something like that. I think it's also nice there are multiple options available, and in terms of materials and things like that and looks. And then on the Kickstarter, and I'm sure they'll make this available on the website as well, options for like colored clips and a little bit of personalization and things like that. And then also, one thing I just want to say is I really like writing with the wooden version. I find it to be really comfortable in the hand. It still feels really robust, but it's just a little bit more natural, a little bit better balanced, and I find that to be really, really fantastic. And that's why I put one of my favorite little ballpoint refills in here, and why I've been carrying it like in the sheath on the lanyard. Like, these are all add-ons and everything, but they're worth looking into. It's a nice option. So lots to love here. I've tried a lot of things in it. I've enjoyed using it. And if it's a pen you're interested in, check out the website. Stay tuned for when it's available on there, and maybe pick one up for yourself. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting and useful. I've certainly found these pens really interesting to use, and actually quite a lot of fun. So once again, a big thank you to Antou Design for providing them for me to show you and to review. Support of brands like Antou Design that allow me to continue to make these videos for you. In the meantime, please enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.